Good morning. Oh, what a week. What a week. Today is Saturday, September 16th, 2023. Another AA day. Um, so if you're new here, welcome. If you have been here before, good to see you. Yeah, so I had a long week. I worked Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, which I normally don't work 3 days in a row, but I did. Um, if you're just starting your sobriety journey, no, you're not alone. There are a lot of us that suffer from alcoholism, and this is just a way to have a group of people who have the same thing in common: becoming sober. Um, so I have been sober for, let me bring it up. I have it on my phone and an app for AA. It is Daily Reflections. So I have been sober for 8 years, 10 months, and 1 day. Exactly 3,227 days. And it's 1 day at a time. I'll read the daily reflection after we get done reading, and I tell some of how this chapter helped me and still helps me. And yeah, but the rules are no judgment, no bullying. You can be in the chat if you'd like. If not, I completely understand. Some people don't know not to bother other people because they are in my chat. They will go and call them an alcoholic, which is not always the case, because I have people that come here for just help in maybe everyday living, or in helping a family member or a friend know what to say, or know that there is a place that they can tell their friend or their loved one that they can get help. So this is not just for the alcoholic who still suffers or who are sober. It is also for anyone that wants to support uh, what I do for my sobriety and everybody else wanting to be in sobriety, whether it's day one or day 3,200 and whatever, it doesn't matter. We're all the same, and we all want the same thing, and that is a life of sober living. I have helped more than one person with sobriety, and I'm proud that I can do that. I'm proud that I have the days and the months and the years that I have sober to be able to share with you guys, because when I first started, I didn't know. that there were people that went through the same things I did. But either way, we'll get into that in a little while. So I start off with the no judgment, no bullying. Please be kind to each other. This is a support group. And so, yeah. Anyway, let's get on with the meeting. I'm Sandra, and I'm an alcoholic. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. In the description, I always put what chapter I am reading and the page number. So please go into the video itself if you're watching the replay. Please go into the video itself and click on the description. It is at the bottom of the screen that the video is on. So it will be right under it. It will say more. You push some more and it will come up with the description and tell you the page and what story we're on. So please, if you have any other questions, um, um, it should be there. I do usually schedule mine in advance so you can be aware that there is one coming up. I didn't this week because this week has been like crazy. We came home Sunday from vacation and, it's been a long week. And crazy thing this morning, we woke up to building burning across the street. Oh my God. Anyway, so yes, we had that exciting morning. I put a video out for it, and so did my sister. So if you want to check it out, it's there. It's one. If you want to find it, it's in my shorts and in her short videos. So that would be where you could find that. Anyways, so what I do is I read the 12 steps in the 12 steps and 12 traditions book. It is in the content in the front. And I just read this top part of the steps and then we get into whatever book we're reading. Right now we're in the big book on the gratitude in action. And we're going to be on 194. Step 1. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. 4. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care. Back up, wrong step. 4. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. Hey, sis. 6. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defective characters. 7. Humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. 9. Made direct amends wherever possible. Make direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. It's a signal, Lil. 10. Continue to take inventory of ourselves, and when wrong, promptly admit it. 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. For some reason, I'm like roasting to death. Hey, turn the air conditioner so it'll blow cold air. Okay, I'm going to start off at alcohol became. Alcohol became my everyday companion. At first, I considered it a friend. Later, it became a heavy load I couldn't get rid of. It turned out to be much more powerful than I was. Even if for many years I could stay sober for short periods, I kept telling myself that one way or another I would get rid of alcohol. I was convinced I would find a way to stop drinking. I didn't want to acknowledge that alcohol had become so important in my life. Indeed, alcohol was giving me something I didn't want to lose. In 1934, a series of mishaps occurred because of my drinking. I had to come back from Western Canada because the bank I worked for lost confidence in me. An elevator accident cost me all of the toes on one foot and a skull fracture. I was in the hospital for months. My excessive drinking also caused a brain hemorrhage, which completely paralyzed one side of my body. I probably did my first step the day I came by ambulance to Western Hospital. A night shift nurse asked me, Mr. B, why do you drink so much? You have a wonderful wife, a bright little boy. You have no reason to drink like that. Why do you? Being honest for the first time, I said, I don't know, nurse. I really don't know. That was many years before I learned about the fellowship. You might think I'd tell myself if alcohol causes so much harm, I will stop drinking. But I found countless reasons to prove to myself that alcohol had nothing to do with my misfortunes. I told myself it was because of fate, because everyone was against me, because things weren't going well. I sometimes thought that God did not exist. I thought, if this loving God exists, as they say, he would not treat me this way. God would not act like this. I felt sorry for myself a lot in those days. My family and employers were concerned about my drinking, but I had become rather arrogant. I bought a 1931 Ford with an inheritance from my grandmother, and my wife and I made a trip to Cape Cod. On the way back, we stopped at my uncle's place in New Hampshire. This uncle had taken me under his wing at the time of my mother's death, and he worried about me. Now he said to me, Dave, if you stop drinking for a full year, I will give you the Roadster I just bought. I love that car, so I immediately promised I wouldn't drink for a whole year, and I meant it. Yet I was drinking again before we reached the Canadian border. I was powerless over alcohol. I was learning that I could do nothing to fight it off, even while I was denying the fact. On Easter weekend 1944, I found myself in a jail cell in Montreal. By now, I was drinking to escape the horrible thoughts I had whenever I was sober enough to become aware of my situation. I was drinking to avoid seeing what I had become. The job I'd had for 20 years and the new car were long gone. I had undergone 3 stays in a psychiatric hospital. God knows I didn't want to drink, yet to my great despair, I always returned to the infernal merry-go-round. Hello, Roy and Becky. Thank you for being here. I wondered how this misery would end. I was full of fear. I was afraid to tell others what I felt, lest they would think I was insane. I was terribly lonely, full of self pity, and terrified. Most of all, I was in deep depression. Then I recalled a book given to me by my sister Jean about drunks as desperate as I was, who had found a way to stop drinking. According to this book, these drunks had found a way to live like other human beings, to get up in the morning, go to work, and return home in the evening. This book was called Alcoholics Anonymous. This book, this exact book. I decided to get in touch with them. I had much difficulty in reaching AA in New York. As AA wasn't as well known then, I finally spoke to a woman, Bobby, who said words I hope I never forget. I am an alcoholic. We have recovered. If you want, we will help you. She told me about herself and added that many other drunks had used this method to stop drinking. What impressed me most in the conversation was the fact that these people 500 miles away cared enough to try to help me. Here I was, feeling so sorry for myself, convinced that no one cared whether I was dead or alive. I was very surprised when I got a copy of the big book in the mail the following day. And each day after that, for nearly a year, I got a letter or a note, something from Bobby or from Bill or one of the other members of the central office in New York. In October 1944, Bobby wrote, "You sound very sincere, and from now on, we will be counting on you to per- perpetrate the fellowship of AA where you are. You will find enclosed some queries from alcoholics. We think you are now ready to take on this responsibility." She had enclosed some 400 letters that I answered in the course of the following weeks. Soon I began to get answers back. In my new enthusiasm and having found an answer to my problem, I told Dory, my wife, we can quit or you can quit your job now. I will take care of you. From now on, you will take the place you deserve in this family. However, she knew better. She said, "No, Dave, I will keep my job for a year while you go save the drunks." That is exactly what I set out to do. As I look back on it now, I did everything wrong, but at least I was thinking of somebody else instead of myself. I have begun to get a little bit of something I am very full of now. That is gratitude. I was becoming increasingly grateful to the people in New York and to the God that referred to, but whom I found difficult to reach. Yet I realized I had to seek the higher power I was told about. I was all alone in Quebec at the time. The Toronto group had been in operation since the previous fall, and there was a member in Windsor who attended meetings across the river in Detroit. That was AA in its entirety in this country. One day I got a letter from a man in Halifax who wrote, "One of my friends, a drunk, works in Montreal, but he is currently in Chicago, where he went on a major binge. When he returns to Montreal, I'd like you to talk to him." I met this man at his home. His wife was cooking dinner, their young daughter at her side. The man was wearing a velvet jacket and sitting comfortably in his parlor. I hadn't met any people from high society. I immediately thought, what's going on here? This man isn't an alcoholic. Jack was a down to earth person. He was used to discussions about charity, and the concept of a higher power didn't appeal to him very much. But from our meeting, AA was born here in Quebec. The fellowship started to grow, most particularly following the publicity we got in the Gazette in the spring of 1945. I will never forget the day that Mary came to see me. She was the first woman to join our fellowship here. She was very shy and reserved, very low key. She had heard of the fellowship through the Gazette. For the first year, all the meetings were held in my home. There were people all over the house. The wives of members used to come with their husbands, though we did not allow them in our closed meetings. They used to sit on the bed or in the kitchen where they would make coffee and snacks. I believe they were wondering what would happen to us, yet they were as happy as we were. The first two French Canadians to learn about AA did so in the basement of my home. All French speaking meetings in existence today were born out of those early meetings. At the end of my first year of sobriety, my wife agreed to leave her job after I found some work. I thought that would be easy. All I had to do was go see an employer and I'd be able to support my family in a normal fashion. However, I looked for work for many months. We didn't have much money and I was spending the little we had going from one place to the other, answering ads and meeting people. I was getting more and more discouraged. One day a member said, "Dave, why don't you apply at the aircraft factory? I know a fellow there who could help you." So that was where I got my first job. There really is a higher power looking after us. One of the most fundamental things I have learned is the paths or is to pass on our message to other alcoholics. That means I must think more about others than about myself. The most important thing is to practice these principles in all my affairs. In my opinion, that is what Alcoholics Anonymous is about. I never forgot a passage I first read in the copy of the bill or of the big book that Bobby sent me. Abandon yourself to God and you understand God. Admit your faults to Him and to your fellows. Clear away the wreckage of the past. Give freely of what you find and join us. It is very simple, though not always easy, but it can be done. I know the fellowship of AA doesn't offer any guarantees, but I also know that in the future I do not have to drink. I want to keep this life of peace, serenity, and tranquility that I have found. Today I have found again the home I left and the woman I married when she was still so young. We have two more children, and they think their dad is an important man. I have all these wonderful things, people who mean more to me than anything in the world. I shall keep all that, and I won't have to drink. If I remember one simple thing, to keep my hand in the hand of God. And that's the end of that one. That last paragraph says it all. But it's exactly why I'm doing this. I was told to pass it on. Pass on the gift that I have been given and pass it on to the alcoholics who still suffer. That's my mission. That is my plan. Um, and to be okay with me being sober and be okay with me in the now and not go back because you can't get back what's already done. You just have to go forward. And so making amends and all of that is a big part of AA, and all this stuff are very important. And you have to want it for yourself and just know that there is all kinds of support. I learned that after I'd already gotten a year sober and then went back out. But a friend of mine said, meet me at a meeting. And so guess what? I went to that meeting. And I'm glad I did. I've been very blessed to receive the gift of something that someone else thought that I needed, which was exactly what I needed and exactly what I need every day. And that is to have faith. No, I don't have to drink. I do not have to drink ever. Do not have to go back out ever. Some days are really hard, but you don't have to drink. The drink is not good. That figures, Roy and Becky. I always forget to plug stuff into, and then I'm like, oh no, it's dead, and I gotta go live. Like I did at the beach last week. Um, I walked off from home thinking we're going on vacation for a few days. Yes, hallelujah. And I forgot my charger. Yeah. Good thing I didn't have a very long thing to talk about. But yes, but having the gift of AA is it helps me in my everyday living. Um every decision I make, I think, okay, how's this gonna do? What's this gonna do to someone else? And what's this going to help, keep help me keep my thoughts of going and drinking away? Like in sticky situations, if you're somewhere and you get into a bind and people are like nagging you to drink or whatever, always have a way out. Always. Even when I go and hang out with family, I always have a way out. I never go without a plan to be able to leave, because you never know when that's going to arise. And I'd really rather not be stuck. Yeah, that's possible too. Yeah, a lot of people get attracted to the party thing, and that's why they drink. Um, I didn't get my alcoholic days until I was in my 30s and sitting at home being bored. And I just drank and drank and drank. No party. It was just me and sometimes my sister. But yeah, I just drank and drank and drank. I didn't care about nobody else. Just me getting my drink, and I don't have to worry about that anymore because I'm not planning on saving the pennies for a beer in the morning. No, not happening now, thank goodness. And I'm not going down the street to the store at 7 a.m. for the liquor light to come on and say, "Oh, you can buy the beer now." I'm not doing that anymore. It feels good. Uh, but that's exactly what I used to do. I would wake up from not really sleeping because right when you pass out, you're not sleeping. That is not a good sleep because your brain's still going and it's thinking, "Oh, great, I gotta wake up and go get another drink." Leastways, that's how it was for me. But and now I don't have the self pity. I can look at myself in the mirror and say, "You're doing good today." I'm not ashamed of who I see. Um, the only thing is I could lose some weight. But other than that, I'm not drinking. And I like that. I like seeing me not drunk and not squiggly. It's just a lot better being sober. No matter how bad the day is, I'm still glad I'm sober. That's good. Becky is a lovely lady. I like Becky. She's a sweetheart. And sometimes it takes somebody doing that, right? Um, that's my husband leaving. He didn't leave me, but I thought he was. And the incident with my eye happened in emergency room and all that. And that was when I had that 1 year sobriety. And then I went back out and I didn't want to stay the drunk. I wanted to be sober and be me, who I am now, being sober, living life, having a job, being happy. Even when I'm sad, I'm still happy because I'm sober and I'm feeling it for real. It's not a fake cry, like when you're feeling that pity when you're drunk, you know. I have plenty of that. Miss Drama Queen, when you're drunk, you're acting like a freak. All kinds of crazy. I sure don't miss that. And I don't miss getting in fights, that's for sure. Not my husband. My husband's never hit me. But me and my sister knocking each other around, That was dumb. Seriously dumb. What was the point? But we've moved past that. It, I mean, we bring it up every now and then because it is good to kind of remember those things and remember why we have chosen this life of sobriety and what we were before. And it reminds us that we don't want to go back to that. Never want to go back to that. I love my sister, and she is my best friend, and we're sober partners. Just like the people that I've helped become sober. They are wonderful people, and they just got lost. They really got lost into that downward alcohol binge, you know, or whatever it is. And it's just a lot easier being sober and knowing for yourself who you are, number one. And number two, you being able to help somebody else. That's what I look forward to is being in being in the position to help someone with their sobriety. That's what I strive for above all else. My sobriety is number one. That's because I control that. That is all I can control. I can only control my attitude, my wants for life because I can't tell everybody else what to do or how to act or how to be or even you have to do that. And it's not my place. All I can do is suggest. And I have given books away just like Bill. And that's why I do it. My sponsor was kind enough to give me one. And that was like the second time I met her and she gave me the big book. It was all highlighted and written in and all kinds of stuff. And I still took it. And I started reading it. I started reading with the group. I started talking at when I was in meetings. Um, and then now, I started this about a year ago. And it's just something that I'm very passionate about. It's helping others to become sober, to have a better life, and know that they're not alone. Because when you are in that state of your life, when you're in that part of the downward hitting bottom, you don't know that there are people there that want to help you or that can help you. You don't know that you can reach out to someone and say, "Hey, I'm an alcoholic. Can you help me?" Sometimes we have to find them, and that's what I do and why I'm doing that here. I have this platform for a purpose, and this is my purpose. Besides my adventures. That's a whole other part of my channel. But the AA is just, it's my biggest passion in helping others. become sober and stay sober and pass it on. Just pass on what I've been taught. And I consider that a gift to me and a gift I give to all of you. And it's great. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a long road, but it's worth every single day. Every single day. And you only go 24 hours a day. You can't plan for, a week because your plans might fall apart. But we have today. So, and be blessed and feel blessed that you woke up and you woke up sober. Or you woke up thinking, I'm going to get sober today. It will be great. It'll be great. I don't miss wasting money on the booze. I don't miss arguing and fighting with people. I don't miss worrying about where am I going to get my next drink or how. And I have my relationships back with my family, with my husband, with new friends, and some old friends. And it's been wonderful. And I'm not shy to say I'm a recovering alcoholic. And I will forever be a recovering alcoholic. I'm getting emergency alert. Shelter in place canceled. Well, we were going to go to the dump today, but that didn't happen. We were in a shelter in place uh, because of hazard breathing conditions, hazard materials in the air. So we didn't get to go do the dump run today. Maybe next week. We will see. But I'm going to read the um, daily reflection real quick after I get a sip of my soda. September 16th. We stand or fall together. No society of men and women ever had a more urgent need for continuous effectiveness and permanent unity. We alcoholics see that we must work together and hang together, else most of us will finally die alone. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 561. That's in the big book. Just as the 12 steps of AA are written in a specific sequence for a reason, so it is with the 12 traditions. The first step and the first tradition attempt to instill in me enough humility to allow me a chance at survival. Together, they are the basic foundation upon which the steps and the traditions that follow are built. It is a process of ego deflation which allows me to grow as an individual through the steps and as a contributing member of a group through the traditions. Full acceptance of the first tradition allows me to set aside personal ambitions, fears, and anger when they are in conflict with the common good, thus permitting me to work with others or for our mutual survival. Without tradition one, I stand little chance of maintaining the unity required to work with others effectively, and I also stand to lose the remaining traditions, the fellowship, and my life. And that is today's daily reflection. Now, if you want the daily reflection, you just go in and find an app, and whichever app you see that you would like or you would think you would like, download it. They're they're free. You should never have to pay for anything from AA except for when you order books. Um, but most of the time, you can get a book. You can buy books at meetings. Back off! He's getting on my laptop. But so most AA meetings will have extra books. Um, so you might be able to get one from there or order it off Amazon. I'm not affiliated with them, but you can get them there, and you can check them out. Most of the time, the libraries will have them. So yeah. But anyways, yeah, it finally lifted now that the dump's closing in like an hour. Not enough time to get up there. So I'm not going today. But anyways, I don't want to take up all of your day. Thank you for coming and thank you for being here. Please, if you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe and hit the like button. If you don't want to leave a comment, that is fine. Um, I completely understand. If you just come and listen, that's great. I don't expect people to leave comments or be in chat because, others can be rude. But please consider subscribing and hitting that bell so that way you can be notified of next videos and live streams. So with that, I will say the Serenity Prayer, and you guys can have good rest of your day. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Keep coming back. It works if you work it. Have a great day, guys. Thank you, Roy and Becky, for being here. The button didn't work. Love you guys.